In this episode, I sit down with Blake Bender. In 2024, Blake worked his way up into the ranks of EcoShield's top 10 rookie class. Now, while Blake showed a lot of promise through the year and an exceptional work ethic, one of the things that really stands out to me about Blake is he's a fourth quarter player in the truest sense of the word. As the season progressed, not only did you see him put his foot harder on the gas, but he ended up also improving his skill set and getting better day by day. I hope you guys take as much from this podcast as I did. Enjoy the show. Let's go. Well, hey, Blake.
Yes,
so glad that you could stop by today,
Dude,
man.
It's my pleasure, man.
How have things been since the end of the season?
Amazing. Life is completely different. That's the least I could say.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, I was living in my mom's basement, which was cool. No rent, but I got my own place now with two guys I look up to, which is sweet. I got new car, which is crazy.
What'd you get, man?
CLA 250, 2025.
Yeah, how do you like the interior of that thing?
That's why I got it.
We got throw that up on the screen real quick.
That's why I got it. So I at first was looking at the GLE AMG 43.
Okay.
They just kind of recommended like first new car, maintenance is going to be super expensive.
Sure.
Gas, super expensive. So they just showed me like an alternative that's like similar, but not as expensive. And that's the CLA. And what's super cool is during the summer, I have pictures of that exact car in people's driveway because I loved it so much. Yeah. Just like I don't know if you can imagine it, like it's almost like a bubble, like the coupe.
Yeah.
Those, I love the look of those.
So, hey, man, I got it. That was my first car that I loved.
You told me that.
Yeah, the Mercedes
I love
CLA.
the car. And the interior, yes. That's why I like Mercedes. I've always loved that ambient lighting. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite thing. I love that.
How'd the sales rep do?
He was good, but I was obviously a laydown.
Okay.
I went in there and drove off with the car. So, I mean, he was like, so do you want it? I'm like, yeah. As soon as possible, yeah.
Do you want to phrase that differently?
Well, yeah, of course I thought that, but for me, I was like, I came here to buy. So,
you read it, okay.
So,
what color?
I did work
car?
Black.
Okay.
Yeah, black interior too. But I did work him down on price, like $100. So it was originally $850. I worked him down to $750, and then the other like sales guy, he got me on some like warranties, wear and tear, and then like tire wheel protection and stuff, which is like another $100. So it ended up being $850.
Hey, per month.
Yeah.
Hey, for Mercedes, you did good then.
That's fine. I mean that's cool. I mean that's one of the things I knew I wanted like materialistically after the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
hey, man.
I was all in with that.
Congrats. You earned it.
I appreciate it.
You earned it.
Thank you.
Hey, for people that are just now kind of getting to see you outside the leaderboards for the first time, give us a little bit of background. Like, where are you from, man? Who's Blake Bender?
Yeah. I was Trenton, Michigan. So from here, it's probably about an hour, maybe a little more. Okay. South over by like Woodhaven, Lincoln Park, Brownstown.
Okay.
Nothing special, that's for sure. So what I was doing before was landscape business with my buddy. We had probably 100, 150 customers. So nothing crazy, but it was just like something that we could do every day. Mm-hmm. To just get some money. $15 an hour for me. Okay. Cash, so that was a plus. But that, like I said before, I was doing a little bit of music as just like a hobby.
I heard one of those songs, man. That was I guess when I heard that you did music, I didn't think that you'd be bad at it, so I already thought you'd be good. But it was good, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're creative.
Yeah, it was more just kind of like a hobby thing. At the time, it was like, I want to do this because I mean I needed something to make money. Because for me, I was always someone that did not want a regular job. Like it literally made me sick to my stomach to think about working 8-10 hours a day for 20, 30 years. Hurt like to think about. So that's why I would do the landscaping, which was flexible. I would DoorDash on the side, which was probably my main source of income. Okay. I would DoorDash, but obviously takes a toll on the car and stuff. So there's a lot of other expenses you got to take into account. But
what do you think you make per hour doing DoorDash?
Per hour, probably around 20, 30 on a good day. So I'd go for 4 or 5 hours, 5, 6 maybe. And sometimes I'd make, $100, $150. Sometimes I make $70, $80. Okay. But then you got to think about, you got to pay for gas. your tires need rotating, you need new tires, all these things to take into account. So at the end of the day, I really wasn't making much. And then another thing I was doing, so when I turned 18, I was super into like personal development and stuff. So I got into it young. And what I started to do was invest my money. So I started investing in stocks, and then I got into trading stocks. And at first I did super good. So I was 18, I made like, 12 grand or so.
At 18,
So I had like
that's
12
cool,
grand
man.
to my
Yeah.
name with all like my jobs and the trading. And then I was trading a little bit, had a lot invested. And at this point is when really, I don't know if you know stock, like the bull market, you're at the top. So I was,
What year was this?
it's probably 2019, 2020, I want to
Oh,
say.
you're talking about right before it hit in December. What was it? December of 2020 when?
Right. So obviously I wasn't super knowledgeable on the subject. I just knew like to get your money working for you. So I had a lot invested. I had a lot of good returns, and then that came, everything went down, and I sold. So I essentially lost all my money, which sucked because it just hurt. It felt like I had so much money at the time, being 18, never seeing like that decent amount of money.
Yeah.
And I pretty much lost it all and started from zero again.
Okay.
Stopped trading really, and just started doing the landscaping thing. And like I said, I was racking in $15 an hour, maybe 400 a week.
Where's that drive? That's early to be starting.
Yeah.
To make money. Where's
Yeah.
the drive come for both the financial aspect and then the personal development?
Yeah, so it was a pretty rough time for me back then. Nothing like serious. Like I know a lot of people go through some pretty crazy things, but I just like cuz kind of dealing with like just, self-worth. Like I didn't know where I wanted to be. Cuz like I said, early age I knew I didn't want to do like the normal route, the American dream.
What set that off? When did you realize that?
I'm really not. It was pretty much after high school. After
Okay.
high school, I was pretty much I was hanging around with the wrong kind of group, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So I kind of diverted myself away, started working on myself. That's when I started going to the gym. So 2020, that changed my life. It really did.
That changed everybody's life.
It changed my life. It changed my mindset, my body, and like my confidence at the end of the day. So that was what really started it. And then, like I said, I was worried about personal development and then like financial development as well. So I just knew, you have to get your money working for you. It's better. What my thought was, so all the money I made, I would put into stocks. I would hold myself maybe 10-20% of my income, because I just, it was just keep the money working for you rather than, losing money essentially in a bank account. And still, I wasn't like fully, informed on the whole finance thing. That's what I've heard.
Well, I love that much of living below your means.
Right, and that was a really good thing for me. That's one thing I still live by is I'm a frugal guy. Yes, I bought a new car.
You bought a CLA, but you make enough. That's
yeah,
fine.
for sure. But it's still like like yesterday I spent like $25 on food and it hurt a little bit. That's just the
Good.
way I am.
Good.
Even though I know like I can afford it, but it still just kind of hurts a little bit. Because I could basically eat for lower than that. And that's just kind of the way that I was, and I still am, just like a frugal person, because I know how it feels to really, not have much, money wise. I've always had a great family. Like I still do. Like they're so supportive. Like I couldn't be blessed with a better like family. I still have friends that I was friends with that support me and are now on our team doing, coming out with us. So I've really been blessed in a lot of aspects, but I had something where I didn't feel right, and that's what drove me to, like I said, financially grow myself, and then personally by going to the gym, doing all these like little things. I started reading at 18. I started building my relationship with God around that time, and I think those things just all added up and essentially changed the way I thought.
What is a book, one or two books that you remember reading that
So
really
the first
changed
two
your
I
mindset?
read, that I still think these are probably two of my favorites that I've read before, so far. Think and Grow Rich was the first one. I can like,
Love that
I still
book.
have the exact book. I have so many notes in that book. I still read it probably at least once a year. That is it really that is what changed my perspective on money.
Okay.
And not only really does it talk money, it talks a lot about like the mental aspect of life. And that's what I love so much. And that's what changed it. And then what is it called? Atomic Habits is another one.
James
That's a
Clear,
great one because I think your habits really define who you are and like are becoming. Because if you don't have the right habits, well, then you're just going to kind of veer off the right path.
So many stories in that book. That's
A
really
lot.
helpful.
It's such a good book.
Yeah.
And then another like honorable mention is the what is it called?
If you start it out, I'll try.
No, I can't. I can't
what's it
remember it, but
about?
I can picture. Oh, The Slight Edge.
Oh, I haven't read
The
that
Slight
one.
Edge.
What's that about?
Very good book. So it's essentially saying like there's all these small little details that if you change, that gives you the slight edge. And they always talk about it's easy to do, but it's also very easy not to do. So it's all these little decisions you make on like a day-to-day basis that really compound and can change your life. Like they seem so minuscule, but like they truly like make a huge difference over time.
I love that. I want to break down some of the things that you found to get that edge, this last year over the course of summer when we get to that part.
Yeah.
That'll be,
Yeah.
I want to dive in.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're starting to get some momentum in a positive direction in your life then. How did you end up going from there to finding direct sales? And then let's start the ride, man.
So like I said, like 18, or actually probably not even, 18, 19 is when I did start to change things around. It wasn't a linear path, I will say that. Once I got to maybe like 20, I started, going out, partying a lot. And that really deterred like my motivation and stuff. Because I would always regret doing it, but I just couldn't say no. And that's one thing I still struggle with a little bit, is just not being like a yes man and really understanding like I said, like these little decisions really add up. So not going out, not partying really, and that's something I fell into for a little while.
Time and place.
Yeah.
Go to Mexico a couple times.
Absolutely. That's a time and place though, going back to my hometown, going out every weekend, that's just not.
Yeah.
It's like for some reason, I would always do it, but I would always hate to do it. For some reason, I just couldn't say no. And that's one thing I still try to work on a lot. But to answer like your question, it was more or less just kind of, realizing where I want to be, just looking forward, like where do I want to be in the next couple years? Not specifically, but it's just I want to be able to do things I want, when I want, with who I want. And like I said, to answer your question, how I got into it was into sales was one of DeBerry.
Yeah.
One of his rookies, which is one of my best friends, was just randomly put it out there. I remember the exact moment we were going to play pond hockey. And he was just like, yeah, I was talking to this guy, or actually, excuse me, it was Garrett that hit up this guy that hit up me. So he was just like, yeah, I was talking to Garrett at the gym, something about, working for 4 months, 8 months off, you can make pretty good money. That's it. Cool. Didn't think anything of it. And then he hit me up, Nate, and he was just like, hey man, whatever, you want to hop on a call? Sure. Hop on the call. Sounds cool. Sure. Next interview with Moses, told me laid everything out. Cool. And then I talked to Robbie, and that's really kind of where everything kind of clicked. I was like, man, this is if like the opportunity is really there, like how you say it is, could not miss out on it. You know what I mean? So that was probably in December, around there, maybe end of November, early December.
Okay.
It took me a little bit to sign, just because I wasn't bought in. It's just like sounded good, but I wasn't really fully committed yet.
Okay.
And
when did that happen?
When I got fully committed, or so probably February.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was a late bloomer for sure. And that's one thing I really regret. That's one thing I said when I presented at the Wednesday meeting, is not buying in sooner. Because I mean, now whatever time it is, now is the best time. So whether that's in, September or in February, you have to start now. You have to jump on the opportunity. And my whole life I've been waiting for like an opportunity like that. And it fell into my lap. So I was like, okay, well, if it is what it is, or if it is what it's made out to be, I have to at least try. So I was more driven by just like kind of fear of regret. That's one thing that I was really driven by, because if I'm being honest, I didn't want to do it, but I knew I had to at least try.
What's the fear of regret mean to you in that context?
So one thought process I had was, is it real? Is it like true?
Sure.
So I reached out to my guys, like my managers, and asked them, talked to them about it, which obviously most rookies have that feeling, which they, expressed to me like, hey, it's normal. And then I just said, hey, like if I did try it and it, was a scam, I tried. If I didn't try and it wasn't, how horrible would I feel? And this is like the opportunity I've been waiting for forever. So I just jumped in like February time. I started training like crazy. Like every single day was dedicated to just training, because I would take days off of work because I could. I wasn't, really employed. So I took days off all the time, training calls. At work, I would do training calls. It was just crazy. I would read the manual every day, watch the videos. And then another guy I would watch like podcasts, and just to get in like the salesman mindset, was Andy Elliott.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I don't really watch him much anymore, but
if you're looking for confidence, that guy's got it, man.
He sure does. And that's just one person that kind of pushed me to that level. So
okay.
Yeah.
Hey man, that's that adds up, because by the time that I had started to interact with you a good amount, you seemed pretty locked in.
Yeah.
On day one, you seemed pretty locked in.
Yeah.
So matter of fact, hey, do you remember this? This is something that was indicative of where your headspace was at, and I just remember this conversation stands out to me. It was the first day of the 2024 season, right? And so by getting ready to go out to the doors, all that, this is right before the meeting, and so I'm getting to some FaceTime with people for the very first time, some FaceTime actually.
Yeah.
So I remember talking to you, and I noticed your aptitude in that you were taking it seriously. You were confident, so you had done some preparation. So I was sensing this, and I was like, hey, I wanted to not talk about it hypothetically, but I wanted to see what I actually could gauge as far as what your capability was.
Right.
And so I was asking you, hey man, what's your work ethic like on a scale of 1 to 10 compared to your peers?
Yeah.
What do you think your work ethic's like? You remember what you said?
I think I said 10.
You said 9.
Did I?
You said 9.
Because I remember we did a role play.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time I've actually spoke to you.
Yeah.
And you were like, you could be a top 10 rookie.
That was after the role play.
Yeah.
I wasn't. Yep. That was after the role play.
You said you could be, and I was like,
that's where that came from. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did a role play. I realized where you're at, and then I wanted to see how hard you were willing to work, because I was like, oh, this kid's talented enough and has prepared enough.
Yeah.
That he could be really good. How hard can he work? And so and then you said 9 out of 10. You said 9 out of 10. I was like, that's pretty good. So
that's
a
probably
little humility
accurate too.
A little humility. Maybe you're comparing yourself to like Kobe Bryant, in that 10 category. So maybe you're 9.9 on that. But
yeah, I would agree. And that's probably a smart answer too, because obviously I don't work as hard as I could all the time. Nobody does. It's hard. There's always those days where, I kind of feel like sitting down for a little bit. You know what I mean? There's always those days. I won't lie. I'll be vulnerable.
Did you do it?
Yeah, there's definitely been days where I would sit down.
How long did you sit? What was the
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. All right. I was like, dude, I know you.
But that was early on when I was really discouraged, when I couldn't find like that, that momentum.
What would bring you out of that? Say that you early on discouraged 5 minutes. What was the thing that you would go to get yourself going?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to having a why. I talk about it a lot, like to the new rookies that come up to me. I think that's the most important thing, because essentially my why is just like my family, not just like my current family, but like my future family. And I just want to build like a life that I want to live for them. So it sounds like pretty, of course that is, but that's really what my why was.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that's what my why is. And just to like, my family deserves it, really. So that's why I push so hard, and that's what that's what gets me up off the curb, really.
I love that, man. So
Yeah,
people that have the foresight
yeah,
to realize what you just said, right? Like one day,
yeah,
hopefully, God willing, you
yeah,
have a family,
for sure.
and you've been thinking about them
Right.
and working towards creating the life
Exactly.
that you
Yeah.
are able to give them all the way since
Right.
you were just barely a kid.
Right.
I
Exactly.
love that. So,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's go through this, man. I get so many questions about you. So, talk to me about like the things that are. Talk to me about the things that stick out in your mind leading up to summer,
Yeah.
and then like when you hit your first door,
Yeah.
what that was actually like.
So, like I said, like fear was huge. Like I said, I did not want to do this job. It totally took me out of my comfort zone. Like I was one person, like even in school and post school, just kind of beating myself kind of guy. I don't really talk much. I just do my own thing. And this job is like the complete opposite. That's your job is to talk to people. So obviously, like the money sounded cool and everything, the opportunity. I didn't know the whole career side of this job, but the money sounded cool. And I've always been one that I understand like to grow, you have to step outside your comfort zone. So I've always been one to know that. And when obviously, like I said, this fell into my lap, I had to jump on it. So it was just fully discipline and motivation to get me out there. And then out there, it was all just like robotic. Like, I know what I need to do, just do it. And that's it. You just have to do it. As long as you're doing the work, working the hours, and you have that preparation under your belt, then you're gonna be fine. It's just that you have to believe that.
So, let's dive in, get a little more.
Yeah.
Let's get a little more specific about what
Yeah.
that means. So,
Yeah.
summertime hits, and I'll. This is something that people already know about you, and obviously anybody that accomplished what you did.
Yeah.
To some degree, I mean, they're gonna have really put in a ton of effort because there's no other way to be the best.
Yeah.
But your consistent progress over the course of the summer really stands out to me as far as your work ethic growing. It felt like you got better all year. Your numbers show that you got better all year, and that was really inspiring. That was for everybody around you
Yeah.
because you got a hell of a motor,
Right.
So that I want to get into what was the learning process like for you
Yeah.
over the course of this summer. What led to you consistently improving.
So I feel like I could go on a tangent for an hour about
Well, that's what
this
we're here
part.
for.
But like, so there's a lot of things. This is what I was talking to one of the rookies last night about. He's like, "What was like the hardest thing they had to overcome this summer?" And I was like, "Well, my first week was pretty decent, right? I did like 10K in a week. Obviously, I had no, insight of like what's a good week, what's not. It felt like a good week." And then the next couple weeks, like Colin started to come in, Sal,
The beast, yeah.
and they all did so much better than me. And I was like, well, I thought I was good. And that's when I started to like compare myself to them, other people in other offices. And that's what really held me down for the first month, maybe month and a half. I just continuously would compare myself, like, what am I doing that they're or not doing that they're doing, like all these things. And I just realized like that's holding me back. I have to, just do me. Like everyone's different in the way, that they are, personality, how they sell. Just be you, and you'll be fine. That's one thing. I stopped comparing myself. And then Moses would tell me every day, every single day, these guys ahead of you, they're going to get tired. They're going to start falling off. Keep your foot on the gas, and you're going to be a top 10 rookie.
That's Coach Moses.
It's Coach Moses.
That's Coach Moses.
He is the best, like, motivate. Like, he would always just, like, instill, like, hey, you're the best. You're a top 10 rookie. You can do this, like, every single day. And that's what really pushed me just to – because it's easy to, say it, but do you really believe it? And he helped me, like, really believe that I could. Because I was saying that, since February. I'm a top 10 rookie. I'm a top 10 rookie. I'm a top 10 rookie. But did I believe it? Because I don't know. 350 sounded like a lot. Because that was my goal. I'm a 350K rep. It just didn't sound attainable. But, after the first 2 months, I was like, I really can. I can do this. Just got to work hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's phenomenal to hear how somebody in your corner can have
Yeah.
a positive impact,
Huge.
you know, like that. And,
Huge.
hey, that's why I've always been doing that in wrestling, and
I know he's a
he
good
gets you
coach.
fired up,
He's a
man.
super
He
good
really
coach.
gets you fired
He's
up.
a super good coach. He's really intelligent on just like life in general. Like
Yeah.
he's someone I will go to if I any questions. I trust him, so that's
Yeah.
what's cool.
That's a unique thing about having a bunch of people, like the people surrounding you.
Yeah.
They're driven towards the best version of themselves too, and when they see you struggling, or if you're struggling in that that path,
Yeah.
on your own path to the best version of yourself, it's sick to have people that are like, hey, bro,
100%.
I've been there. I know, man. Hey, listen, man.
Exactly.
And then they just hype you up a little bit,
Right.
remind you what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so Blake, what's one of the things where when you first got to the doors, you were struggling with this, so X thing, in your actual interactions, your sales process, and then what is something that you learned or that you changed, you tweaked,
Yeah.
that made it so that you stopped, having that issue and you improved?
Yeah. I guess there's a lot of things, like I said, like comparing myself. That's kind of like outside of like the specific sales side of it. But specifically like sales, wasn't closing much. It was just like, run through the pitch. Do you want it? Like I wasn't closing as I should properly.
We're doing the Mercedes salesman close.
Yeah, essentially. Do you want it?
Which
Yeah,
They have to
exactly.
really want a Mercedes
Exactly.
to buy that.
Yeah, I didn't know how to close well, and I didn't know how to use whatever exterior factors to my advantage. Environment, who you're talking to. It was just the same pitch every single door, and I think that's good to keep like the same gist of your pitch, not to switch it up. If it's not working, don't try something new. Just stick to it. But depending on who you're talking to, that can change your pitch just a slight bit. Where you're at, full of woods, right on the water, a ton of land. There's just a lot of different factors you can use to your advantage. That's one thing I learned. And then just to be myself, like to build a connection with people is why they buy. I think the two main things you can do, like as a rookie, is to understand the business, the service, be educated and be the professional, but then to also be good at building relationship with people. Like if you can do that, if you can get them to like you, trust you, I think that you can get sales that way. But if you don't build, if you miss out on building that relationship part and you're just the professional, I don't think you'll get as many sales. That's that's the biggest thing, is building a relationship with people.
Yeah, it's a utility
Yeah.
on somebody's home, so
Yeah.
they're gonna already get it eventually with
Exactly.
somebody. It's a
It's just
minor
who.
expense. Yeah,
It's just who they're going to get it from, and that's what building that relationship is.
yeah. I feel like that it's so powerful, especially in what it is we do, because it literally, compared to other things on a homeowner's month to month bills,
Yeah.
we sell something really cheap.
Right,
Like it's
for sure.
one of their smallest expenses. So if they like you, and then they understand the value, those things combined,
Yeah.
that's where you get.
Like so many times I've had people like, man, I don't buy from door to door, guys, but I do like you. We'll give it a shot. So many times.
feeling.
I know, and then I hear that all the time. I'm like, well, I just be myself then.
Yeah,
That's it. And that just kind of was an eye opener. Like, hey, it's not all about just racking off. This is what we do. This is what we do. It's a conversation with people. And I can't remember who said it, but they told me it's not a presentation. It's a conversation. Just be human to human. People respect that, and they'll like you for it. So.
Yeah, but hey, that's huge for people to be able to understand like what it means to simply have great connections with people, is to find who you are and be the best form of that, maximize that. So thanks for actually illuminating that.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
that works. Don't try to be somebody else. Best version of you.
Exactly.
Okay, so when I think about this summer, one of the things that I think about in the room, all right, you come in, Blake, you have this big old water bottle.
Yeah.
Like not water bottle, you have
Gallon of
this big
water.
old gallon of water
Yeah.
in your right side of the room over there,
Yeah.
and so just drinking that thing all morning. What was your routine, man? Like what got you to be so consistent every day, showing up the same way? Like what was leading up to the meeting, and then what'd you do before you actually got out there into action?
Yeah. So routines have been, like I said, when I first started like my personal development journey, routines have always been a staple for me. Morning routine has always been, I won't even say dialed, just there.
Okay.
There's obviously times you do your morning routine, this or that, but it's always been something where if I don't do it, I feel a little bit off. So for me, during the summer, my routines were the first half of the summer, get up at 5, go to the gym, be there by 5:30, work out for 30 minutes, nothing crazy, just, kind of get blood moving, blood flowing. I'd go take a cold shower, or no, I'd hit the sauna, then hit a cold shower in the gym, change, just not into my work clothes, just regular, change back into my clothes, go home, eat, and then I'd do all my savers. So I wouldn't be like SAVERS in a row. I'd write my affirmations down, write my gratitude down. I'd just sit, I'd pray for, 5 minutes. And that's just that silence aspect, just prayer. That's what it is for me. And then I'd read the Bible. And then by that time, it's like 7:30, 7:40. I just go out to the living room, chill with the boys, and then we'd be off to the office. And from there, like I was a very superstitious person. Same shirt every day, same pants every day. I'd have to wash them after every day. So it would feel weird for me, like, you'd get these new shirts, 75K Club, all these new shirts. I just didn't feel right when I wouldn't wear, the navy blue shirt, black pants, same shoes. And that was it. I mean, same energy drink every day. It was just
What'd you go to?
So at first it was the Celsius.
Okay.
And then I started moving into like the Zoas, like the rock drink or whatever. But it was just keeping things consistent. Whatever it is, just keep it consistent. And that's, I felt that helped me a lot.
You said, so with that routine starting earlier than most people's routines do, with that routine starting earlier than most people's routines do, what was your nightly preparation? What was your nightly routine?
So that's one thing that I'm going to work on next summer because typically what I would do is I'd get home. I'd either shower and then eat or eat and then shower. It really depended. So because on the doors, I wouldn't eat. Like a granola bar here and there. But I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't really take a lunch. I would eat that Cliff Bar while still knocking. So I'd be talking to people while eating my Cliff Bar.
Bro, I love Cliff Bars.
I know,
Something
they help,
about
man.
It,
man.
Yeah.
But that I wouldn't really eat. And another thing that I don't think is the best, I wouldn't drink water all day. It just saved me time. Like I don't really think about it. Like I said, I'm like a robot when I'm out there.
You didn't drink. What do you mean?
So I would have, I'd have
drink.
people like give me a water here and there. I wouldn't bring one really.
Okay.
So I wouldn't even ask though. Like sometimes they're like, "Hey, you want a water?" Yeah, for sure. But I wouldn't like go out of my way because I really wouldn't get thirsty or hungry. I don't know. It's just I was so just dialed in on what I was doing.
I love it. To our listeners,
Yeah.
go ahead and do everything else Blake does, but drink water.
Yeah,
And then
please
there you
do.
go. All right.
But it was good for me because I hydrate myself
Dude,
prior and
you did.
and post.
You know what? I wonder if that's
Yeah.
that's got to be the only way you could do that.
100%. Yeah. Because
Okay.
I would definitely prioritize getting my hydration in.
Okay.
Another thing don't do that I did was horrible diet. Horrible diet. Like I'd have a pretty decent breakfast, but probably 60% of the summer I would go home, DoorDash a full Little Caesars pizza, and just crush it. So don't do that. Don't do that because funny enough,
You eat the whole thing?
typically, yeah.
Dude, it makes sense after a day at the doors that you would.
So,
yeah, if you're not eating
like,
all day.
It just was the best. But I would say, keep a healthy diet because I gained weight during the summer, believe it or not.
Well, I mean, actually, I believe it now that you
Yeah.
just told me that you ate an entire
Yeah.
pizza
Yeah.
for dinner.
So I would always, track my calories, how much I burned in the day. I would typically burn like 1,100 calories in a day.
Okay.
And I was just like, I've always been one just to eat like crazy. So
Yeah,
I did
I
gain
love it.
weight after the summer, believe it or not. And then, but yeah, I think, having a good diet just helps energy levels in general. And then, yeah, stay hydrated.
So you food comaed out after that pizza then, just like
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much that went into my nightly routine. I would sometimes review like voice memos of my pitches. Another thing I want to work on that I didn't do as often as I would like to
okay.
is review record my pitches, review what I did good, what I did, not as good. But there's a lot I think that goes into a nightly routine, and it's just being like deliberate, thinking about the next day, what you want. I would typically just knock out. That's one thing that I'm going to change next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of next year, what's your what's your goal? What are you going for this upcoming year?
Yeah, so 550. I'm gonna do 550 next year, and then I'm gonna have a $2.5 million team.
Let's go, man.
Yeah,
Hey,
so I'm a partner next year.
I believe you.
Yeah,
I heard there's another bender.
yeah, there is.
Who's
Yep.
Who's
So
this guy?
my brother Grayson, I did try to get him out last summer. He was 17, so it just didn't really work out, because he had no like social proof. He didn't understand, same as I didn't.
Didn't know if it was a scam.
Yeah, I mean, not even that. He just didn't, really see like the value in it. So I did it, and now all the people that were gonna come out with me or didn't want to are coming out with me next year.
The same thing happened to me with Ethan Bodker, who's the first person
Okay.
that like finished this summer, came back and it
Yeah.
started to build. And I still remember like the conversation that we had where we were on the back of a cruise ship, the yearly cruise about to go on here
Yeah.
in just a little bit.
Crazy.
We were on the back of the cruise ship looking out into the water, and we both been drinking, and it was just a good time. And Ethan's just like, bro, he expressed some gratitude. Then he's just like, hey man, there's just one thing that I regret so much. And I'm like, bro, what's up? He's like, I can't believe I didn't do this the previous year.
Yeah.
I was like, hey
Yeah,
man,
man.
Same thing you said, right? I was like, hey, it's like
Yeah,
best time to plant a
exactly.
trees 20 years ago,
Exactly.
second best times today.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
hey,
Now
we're
is
here.
always the best time.
We're here now,
Yep.
man. We're here now.
Yeah, that's one thing like I try to just, tell people, because for one, like I feel super blessed and lucky to be in the spot I'm in. So I think the least I could do is at least try to get others in the same place as me.
It's an interesting thing, right? Because this job is some people's worst nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Like if you want to skate by and like just do the minimum at a job, which hey man, there's positions that are like that.
For sure.
This is the worst thing you could ever do. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah,
because
Yeah.
we work, right? Like we work.
Work.
And then for somebody though that's looking for like, dude, I
Yeah.
work so hard, I want to get paid more for
know,
my
man.
work. That is where
Yeah.
you being an example of
Yeah.
that, like that is where this job is just so unbelievable. I can't believe it's real. It's like I
know.
can actually go out and just triple
Right.
down on my work ethic
Yeah.
and get the reward.
I
So,
still really can't believe it's real, honestly. It's pretty crazy.
hey man, you be both,
Because
and I'm still.
funny story was like, so I know Mike before summer, he did trainings on like Mad Money and stuff,
Yeah,
but I never understood it really, because I've never been a numbers guy whatsoever. Math, not my thing. So I was just kind of tuned out. So I went into the summer thinking I wasn't getting paid for 4 months.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucked. And I was like, I need to, stack up some capital so I can at least eat this summer.
yeah.
And then after the first week, I got my first paycheck. Biggest paycheck I've ever had.
Of bonuses, huh?
Yeah.
What'd you get your first
It's like
paycheck in bonuses?
$890.
Just in that week's bonuses,
Just
huh?
a week. And I was like, what?
Are you
was
because
crazy.
this isn't your total sum, okay, or anywhere
Yeah.
near it, and we'll try to keep that off of
Right. Yeah,
the
yeah.
podcast. But are you comfortable with saying how much you made in bonuses during the summer? Just
Yeah.
bonuses?
Yeah,
What
it
what'd you
was-
make in bonuses, bro?
Little less than 40K. I know.
Less than 40K in
crazy.
bonuses during the
I know.
summer. Yeah,
Sell
I'm
sell
sorry.
those multi-years, guys. Yeah, that helped a lot. Multi-years helps a lot because my CVA wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, multi-years, the reason, man, it always made so much sense to me as well because there's 3 different things that happen when you sell multi-years. It's the best experience now understanding pest control. Like, I've actually been in the industry long enough and have a bunch of licenses now that I understand pest control. The longer that a customer has pest control, the less insects and bug activity they have. So they have a better customer experience. Then secondarily to that, the money that we get for long-term customers, we can reinvest in the business and make it like a much better service. We're buying better products. We're paying people better. We're putting more into training.
Makes sense.
So it's one's better for the customer. 2, it's better for the actual service. And then 3, it's better for the sales rep because you get a fat bonus for selling them as well. So I always thought about that way. And when I saw you doing your numbers and then also, keeping those really high, I'm like, man, this is gonna work out well for Blake.
Yeah. It's crazy. Crazy, man. Crazy to think about. But.
Okay, during the summer, what's a competition from 2024? I mean, man, you were in Detroit East. That was one of the places to be this past summer.
I would want to be anywhere else.
Hey, man, that was an incredible environment. Yeah. What was a competition that stood out to you when you think back through the year that just like, we put in some work?
Well, Delta, of course. I mean, that's just one that's like, you really have to go balls to the walls if you want to get through. And I wasn't really worried about like the prizes or anything. I just was like pride. I had to do it. That, and then I I think the main thing for me was not specific competition, but it was competition like with other people. It's like I want to be the top guy in the office. I wanted to finish number one. So I just kept aiming for that. Wasn't vocal about it, but I
Oh,
just
you
really,
weren't vocal about it, but
yeah.
I thought I saw that in your eye. Like
Yeah.
I thought I saw that in your eye. Okay,
Yeah,
so
because
it's
I wouldn't
like-
say too much.
You
It
can
was
never
just
say
like
it.
I just wanted to work. That was it. Like I wasn't so social at all. It's just I want to get out there.
Wait, so what? So being number one in the office. So wait, so did you have any rivalry or anything that helped you throughout
Not
the?
specifically. Colin's always been like the guy on my radar because he came out and blew me out of the water. So I was always not that it's like not like I was mad at him or anything, but it was just like friendly competition.
Just a little competition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that it helps when you can, use the competition to your advantage, not where I was at first, where I was comparing myself constantly to people. It's using the competition to make you better, strategically using it, so you can produce more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And all the three guys ahead of me, most of the summer, Nathan, Ryan, and Colin, those were guys on my radar. I had to pass whoever it may be to get to the next guy and then next and next, but I didn't, but I'm still happy with what I did.
Hey, that was
Yeah.
yeah. You went from one place to another
Yeah.
place, real close.
Yeah.
Real close up there.
Yeah.
All right, so we were talking earlier about competitions that stand out in
Yeah.
your mind during the summer.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Delta Force.
Yeah, I mean, Delta, it's definitely like a huge competition, but for me, I was essentially already doing all those things, getting on the doors fairly early, working until 8. I was doing all that already. So it was just essentially about making sales. I was working the hours. I was, not taking breaks. So it was just making those sales. And that's actually during Delta, because it's 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
I think that second week is when I called you, and I was kind of in like a slump a little bit. I was still making deals and stuff, but it wasn't to where my expectations were. So I was still getting those 1-2 days, which was okay, but it kind of hurt a little bit because I know I can do more. But essentially it was just working. I mean, with those competitions, I don't think about it too much. I don't look at the leaderboards. I don't care. It's just you'll be good. That's all it is for me. Yeah, that's it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is a unique way of handling it, and it really works for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there like any particular thing that you studied over the course of the summer itself that was to sharpen the axe for the doors?
Manual. That's the best. I mean, that's the best thing you could read to get you better at this job. Not just like sales in general, but this job specifically. Like if you want to be better at this job, you read the manual. It's point blank period. That's what you have to do. So before summer, I read it like 4 times. And then during summer, I read it through once.
Okay.
It was just, like you said, to sharpen that axe, be the professional at what you're doing. And that's, you can read these other like sales books, mindset books. But for me, it was, I need to master this job. So I know the things that go into it are what we do, master that. And then obviously your mindset as well. And that would just, for me, be, meditation. Like I said, not thinking too much about the outside factors, these competitions, other people. I would just do me and be the professional at what I do.
Love that.
Yeah.
I have a question for you from where you are right now. Okay, so from where you are right now, if you had the ability to talk to yourself when you were in one of the couple of slumps that you had where your performance wasn't what you wanted it to be. Every salesman has been in that position where it's like, okay, it's like, hey, I want to get back to where I know I need to be. Now that you're not in that moment, what would you tell yourself then if you were able to speak to yourself then now?
It's a good question. And it wouldn't be anything I didn't already know. It would just be a reminder. It would be preached to me during the summer, before the summer. You're going to have highs and you're going to have lows. It's just how life works. You're never going to, always go up. It's just going to be like that, up and down path. But over time, you will continue to get better. So for me, it would just be, I think it was Nate Nowick that would just continue to say, ride the highs, survive the lows. That's it. That's what I would tell myself. So like when I would have like worse days than others, 1, 2, 3 days, 3 sale days, I would just be excited almost because I know that like the next day or the next coming few days, I'm gonna have a great day. That's just like the paradigm that I was, looking at life in. Like bad days are gonna come, but the good days are gonna follow. You just have to get through them. So that's it. Just get through those lows and you ride the highs.
Love that.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got I feel like there are, in my interpretation of lessons that I've learned, there's like different people that I'll learn different things from,
Yeah.
like that they just embody something. So, like for me, when I came into EcoShield, Alan was young in his career,
Yeah.
but Alan always showed up for work. Absolutely no situation could ever happen where Alan would not be at work, ever. He's never missed a day ever. I've been working with him for like 11 years now. Okay.
I could see that.
So Alan doesn't, and so that was like a principle I applied. I saw like that works. I saw it through that person. Is there something, and I could go through, it's interesting because each person I feel like I learn like a different thing from.
Right.
Is there, do you have any things this past year that you learned in that way where like there was a person that embodied it, whether it's like Nate the Great, how he's dealing with this, or Robbie, or whoever's around? Was there something that you learned that you really could take and be like, hey, they got that down. I want to start to embody that particular thing.
Yeah. I would think, because like you said, there's a lot of different guys that teach you a lot of different things. But I think the main thing for me, I didn't learn a lot. I mean, of course I learned a lot about sales from these guys, but I think the most like profound thing is just like the perspective you look at, this or that, or just life in general. Like Robbie, he's the most like articulate person that I've ever talked to. He just like teaches me so much just about just anything really. He's like one person I'll always go to if I need advice. You, of course, if I ever, like I said, I called you when I'm in a slump. You're the first person I called, just because like, I know that you have been there before. Sure. You know how to get out of that and like just what to say. Moses, same thing. He's like a good teacher. Like he's just like knowledgeable about, life in general. And that's why like, there's a handful of guys that are the first people I go to if I need something. So I think that specifically, but sales wise, I mean, it's really just like watching what people do and trying to emulate that in your own way, of course, because, everyone's going to be different selling wise.
Yeah, it's okay. So I love that. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Robbie's articulate. I've been in this situation. Mo's a great teacher.
Yeah.
There's other guys in the office too, like we call it Ryan the Lion.
Yeah.
His like the energy that he has is actually quite
Exactly.
like that's pretty incredible. Yeah. The way that he conducts that energy and moves things in a direction as a result of that.
Yeah.
When I look at, where was I going with this? There's a reason that I brought this up. Okay, well let's just jump to this. Okay, so, remember in Pro Bowl right after summer, where like to give him appropriate flowers, Ryan Iceberts is up there. I think it was like 1.2 million over the course of a summer. Yeah. In my opinion, he's the GOAT on the doors.
Has to be.
During that presentation, is there anything that was that you took from that was like a plug and play thing that you want to do this next year? He got so granular. That was the best sales training that I've ever been to in my whole career.
Yeah.
Where he just was like, this is how I did it. Was there anything that stood out to you like that makes sense that he deployed that you still retain from that?
Yeah. So two things that also, for starters, the things he was saying was things everyone at Pro Bowl knew. It's just he could apply it with, discipline. And that's one thing. Ryan had so many setbacks, countless during the summer. And he got over all of them and still outproduced every single person in the company. So I think I always have thought if one person can do it, I can do it. So it's just like he's putting in, the effort. He's using his discipline, his, work ethic, all these different types of factors that he has. He's using them and maxing them out. And people that aren't doing his numbers aren't maxing them out as much as they could, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, the things he was saying, everyone knows already. It's just he's applying them to his maximum potential. I think that's the best way to, you know.
The things that I've been in this game for a long time. So as he
Yeah.
was saying stuff, there were some things that I'm like, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's like pro tip. And then there's other things he went further than in 11 years I've even thought to think of as
Yeah.
far as like going granular with preparation. So the thing
Mm-hmm.
that I'm bringing up is the level of preparation that
Yeah.
you can benefit from and apply to become an absolute like just a
Right.
savant of
Yeah.
this job. Is you go through some of the things that he said. I've deployed some of them. The parts of them that really work is if people will study the roads right next to where they're at,
Mm-hmm.
if they'll know where the school is and what the team name is, even look up what the mascot is.
Yeah.
If they look at like the main, it's like, does this like little city that I'm in, they have
Yeah.
a Walmart at this cross street? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything memorable that I can throw in a sentence that makes me a local?
Right.
Like that they're like, this is like in your
Yeah.
city that you live in, you grew up.
Right.
There's a couple local landmarks that if somebody
Mm-hmm.
brings up casually in a sentence, now you're all of a sudden like you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a local.
Yeah.
And so like that kind of preparation that you got, and then obviously the things that you brought into
Yeah.
purview, which is like, hey, what are the environmental
Yeah.
parts of this
Yeah.
equation here? Is there a pond back here? Is there a tree line
Right.
nearby? Is there a field back over there? Is this just all land that used to be
Yeah.
a swamp? Like can I talk to the person that's lived here the longest and find out all the different developers and what
Yeah.
was going on? So
Yeah.
those kinds of things, like, dude, it is you can put so much time and attention into the details to become so much better than most people are capable.
Yeah.
I mean, excuse me, most people are aware
Yeah.
of being
Right.
at this job. So
Yeah, and he's just obsessed with it. That's what it comes down to. I don't know if it was him that said it, but he would study other companies.
yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's just like everyone knows you have to be prepared, but he's maxing that out. He's doing everything he can to be prepared. And that's one thing most people aren't doing. They're preparing, but they're really only giving, a percentage of their effort that they could be.
Yeah, I think that that's the only way you get like above.
Yeah.
You start talking about the guys that have done over 500K,
Yeah.
over 600K. Like you
Right.
get to the numbers that are just
Yeah.
out of this.
Top 10 guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
top 10 overall guys.
Yeah.
Talking about Blake Bender 2025.
Yeah, that's
those
right.
kinds of guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
But there's just I wanted to kind of put this out there so that people understand. If you want to be one of the absolute greats at this job, go hit somebody up that has done it at a really high level and start to try to pick their brain. They don't have all day. Ask them a couple specific questions via message, and you'll be shocked to find out the obsession that they have put into the preparation process for the job. And most people just aren't aware. It's like they're like, oh, they're just getting lucky doing it. It's like, no, dude, you
Right.
freaking studying.
Goes a
all
lot
night, this
deeper
neighborhood and crap.
than you realize, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And that's obviously one thing I need to work on too. To get to where I want to be next year, I have to be obsessed even more than I was before.
Well, hey, if you look at Michael Jordan, LeBron James, you look at their
right.
rookie year,
Yeah.
they did some incredible things, and then they continued to, they got a whole career, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Right.
what
Me
you
too,
do,
man.
Blake.
Me too. I'm excited.
All right, so let's get into a couple of things that are just like over the course of the summer. What did you do to keep yourself engaged? If you're like, the times where you're walking from door to door, you feel like you're going through the motions a little bit. You've been in it for a while.
For sure.
What'd you do to get engaged, to get present?
So like one other thing, so I would always say affirmations in between doors. Get from door to door super quick, as quick as you can. Cut through lawns and stuff, all these different types of things, but just being efficient, not being busy, being productive with your time. And then one thing, like a switch that I kind of made like mentally was at first it felt like, I'd get like a few objections and then I would just leave. I started taking every single customer like the full distance, and I saw so much, more production that way. Like I would be present with every single person, every single door, and they'd get my full attention, my full effort, and I'd take them fully through the sales cycle, until, I'm out of ammo, they're just not a buyer. Cool, have a good day, next door. And you give them your full attention all the way through the sales cycle. Okay, next door. And then you find your yeses, build momentum, and just, take that throughout the day.
What was, did you go to the backyard? Did you stay at the front door?
That's one thing, like, at first, most of my deals are on the front door.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I started moving more, but for me, I would close a lot of deals on the front door. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what that comes from or whatever, but, just being a person, building a lot of value. And if they see the value, they'll typically buy. But there's those times where, yeah, you got to move. And that's what creates that emotion, which, that's how you sell people.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know what exactly it's from, but I would close a lot of deals on the front door.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's whatever works
Right.
for you the best. So,
Yeah.
and when we were talking about the different things that people embody that you learn from, Blake, being yourself and embodying that, there's some people that have an authentic like energy about them where you feel comfortable. You don't feel like they're being,
Right.
you just feel like they're actually being themselves in the moment. And that's one of the things I imagine that customers really like. They get there with you. They're able to feel that same thing. But that's a huge thing for people that come in that are new to sales. The variety of individuals that can become outstanding salesmen. There's not a limitation to it based off like you're this type of person. It's like, no, how can you maximize like actually being? I always think about it this way, Blake. We all got here. Our DNA got here. All right, so like there are things locked within your and my and Berto's and everybody's DNA that made it through all the different challenges, and we all managed and maneuvered them differently through all the different, all of our different ancestors, right? And so when you just find what you are, and then you embody that, maximize that, you'll be at your fullest, most capable version of yourself. So when people come into sales and they meet somebody like you, they can be inspired in that direction where it's like, hey, let me be myself. Let me be accepting. But then it's like freeing for the person that they're talking to.
Right.
People feel comfortable. People like you. People trust you. People like, hey.
Because people can smell that off you. Like, he's just trying to be someone he's not,
Yeah.
And nobody likes that.
Yeah, man.
And that's why, like, people are always like, because I think I disagree with the fact of, sales isn't for everyone. I agree and disagree at some points because I think anyone can do sales, whether it's door to door, cars, insurance, whatever. I think anyone can do it, but the work put in behind it, most people aren't willing to do. So I think anyone can be a good salesman with practice because it's a skill, of course. But I think the work that you have to put in for it, most people aren't willing to actually do.
Why do you think that is?
Because people are comfortable, and they don't want to get out of that. They're comfortable making a salary, which I get. I'm not, throwing shade or anything at anybody, but we need those people, of course, making, doing all these separate things. But, if you really want to maximize your potential, I think getting paid what you're worth is the best way to do it in the financial side. But like I said, most people just aren't willing to get uncomfortable and take the risk. They're just comfortable where they're at.
What's an example of a time where you felt uncomfortable initially at this job that you had to get to the other side of?
Everything. I mean, like presenting in front of the office, it's hard. Like I've never been one to like speak in front of people. But that's one thing I'm definitely continuously working on is I want to be someone that can be like the leader in the office, can lead from the front, lead by example. That's one thing that definitely put me out of my comfort zone. The doors, yes, but also no, because it's just like a one-on-one thing. It's nothing to be like afraid of. If you mess up, cool. They're never going to remember you. You're never going to remember them. It's just not a big deal. All these things people are worried about, it's so minuscule and like the big picture, like, no one cares about what you're doing. So just don't worry about it. That's one thing I would always worry about, like, oh man, what's he thinking about me? What are they thinking? Like, am I doing something wrong? Who cares? It's not a big deal.
Who cares? And they're not.
Yeah, they're not. They're worried about themselves.
We're also self-obsessed. Like,
everyone's
they're not even thinking about
who cares?
you.
Like, that's the one thing I had to get over. It's like, who cares, man? Like, even if they don't like you and they're making fun of you, who cares, man?
Who cares? But they're not.
Yeah, who cares, man? There's like people that do that have something, they're trying to, cope.
Yeah, it's an insecurity, dude. People that talk crap about people consistently, it's all like, psychologically, it's like, hey, man, like, okay, they're not feeling good about themselves. They need to get themselves over on somebody, so they're going to vocalize something negative, so they have to push that person down so they can feel okay.
Exactly.
And if they saw themselves where they should be, they wouldn't have to say that sentence in the first place. So I could never be mad at them. I'm like,
yeah, who cares? I mean, like, that's literally like one thing I live by. Who cares? Who cares about this? It's just all so small. Even like, horrible days on the doors. Who cares, man? Good days, who cares? It's just all like, like you said, keeping things neutral. Like, who cares? Just be present, and that's it.
All right, amen. Let's jump to. We had a little intermission here with the equipment. Let's jump to just if you were to sit down with let's put me as the rookie. Okay, so let's give ourselves a situation where, you're sitting across from a rookie, and I'm expressing to you that it's really important to me to, I want to elevate myself through this opportunity, like through this particular opportunity. I want to become really good at sales. I want the financial benefits. I want to maximize this out because I've got a bigger picture that's really important to me.
Right.
Those are obviously everybody's favorite people. We love working with people like that.
Absolutely.
You were somebody like that. I was somebody like that.
Exactly.
That's the right kind of people. But you're sitting across from that person. They have the desire. They want to go all out. What are the things that you tell them? What are the things you tell them to keep in mind right now leading up to summer? And then what piece of advice would you give them over the course of the summer?
Yeah. So leading up to the summer, there's so much that I could talk about, but I think the main thing and one thing like from personal experience is regret. Like I talked about in earlier in the podcast. It's, if you come out of this with a lot of regrets, how you're going to feel, there's all these feelings you can have after summer, but you don't want them to be negative. If you regret, hey, I could have done so much more preparation in the off season, and I could have done this, then you're not going to be as happy as you could be with your outcome. So it's do everything intentionally leading up to the summer. Buy into the entire program because we're the best that there is, and for your goals, if you want to progress your life just in general, buy in because book club, all these meetings are not just meetings about sales. Like, of course, the training's about sales, but leading up to that stuff, it's all like mindset work and like principle-based training. And if you buy into this stuff, you take notes, you retain the info, and then just continue like to every day, put your all into. If you really want this, you have to put your all into it every day. It has to be a consistent, work ethic, discipline type of thing. And that I think is like the main thing. And then like during summer, so like I said, when I was presenting at the Meridian, the one thing that just like completely sums up my whole presentation is like a little equation. It's unwavering faith and massive action equals success. So that's just like what I believe. It's like if you can believe in your process and believe in yourself, and then you also, in tandem with that, put the work in, of course, before the doors and on the doors, and you'll see success. You'll get to where you want to be.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about belief for a second.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I started to learn about reinforcing and building one's belief in self, because this is huge. This really matters because from this everything comes, right? Like if you have the belief in yourself, like you just said, unwavering belief, then everything else you will find a way. You will figure it out. You'll be resourceful enough to find it.
Exactly.
You'll figure out how to do what you're setting out to do. And the timeline, you might not know exactly when it's going to manifest, but you will manifest it with that belief. The thing that I started to become aware of was something called framing.
Yeah.
Okay. And the majority of us, well, not the majority of us, the human brain will frame things in a way that is going to be negative roughly 80% of the time is what the studies suggest, right? And that's for our best interest in order for us to survive and make it through all these crazy environmental factors that we had and wars and plagues, and it's freezing outside and this and like there's animals out here that want to eat us, and like we don't have clothes, like it's crazy, right? It's dirty.
Right.
And so all these factors we for a good purpose, our brain developed in that way. And so then if you apply that archaic mindset, that archaic brain to our current way of life and viewing things, when you look back, you'll create a frame of yourself that is usually going to be too weak to withstand the challenges that you will face, and it will not be in that unwavering belief category for the majority of us. And so framing, what that means, okay, your brain is already doing it. When you think, who am I? Your brain is going to automatically frame who you are through your different experiences, and it's doing that, but you're not conscious of it. Now, when you become conscious of the frame that you're putting on your life up to the moment that you're in, then you can start to play around, right? You can take it. I don't want to think about 80% of the negative things about my life and whatnot. I want to switch that over. Let's do 80% of the positive things, and 20% is like, hey, make sure to look out for these things over here. And so for especially if people had like, if you had stuff that's challenging, traumatic, whatever it is over the course of your life, if you go back in this computer
Yep.
and you reframe those instances in a way that you are stronger because of X situation, it taught you this, which made you better, which made you more prepared. So the next time you face a barrier like that or similar, like you're going to blow through it because you already went through that thing. Like you already hurdled that thing back then. So now you know how to jump. So when this comes up, tap the X button, boom, jump,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like you already learned how to move, dip left, stay out of the situation. So now you have that skill for the next time. So if you go back through your whole story that you tell of yourself about who you are, and you apply the same framing that's being done, but you apply it deliberately in a way that is way more accurate than the natural 80% negative that you're going to automatically do at framing. Then all of a sudden
Right.
you'll be a version of yourself that's uninhibited
It's all
by
perspective.
that bullcrap narrative that you had. So
Yeah.
this is like I hope that my hope is that more people understand that for themselves, because it changes everything. And two people that had a traumatic event, and one of them was destroyed by it, and the other one's like, the next thing's gonna be real easy because like that prepared me for it. They both had the same experience. They just framed it differently.
It's the perspective of like how you look at good and bad things, you know? Like for me, it's like, one thing that you have to just always be conscious of is, you know, things you can't control are going to happen all the time. Now it's the perspective you look at those, you know, if you understand that while you're going through hardship, if you understand you're growing from this, and like once you get out, you're going to be a better man or better woman or whatever it is, you're going to be just a better person from those hardships. And something I always think of is like God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. You know what I mean? So like
I love that.
these things you can, you know, everyone's has hardship and like obstacles, but it's how you look at them, how you frame it. You're going to grow from them, or you can let it deter you. It's just, you know, there's one way you're going in life, and that's forward. So however you know, want to maximize that, it's up to you. So yeah, that's good.
Hey man, I love that. Yeah. So belief. Okay, so we tapped on unwavering belief. All right, and then massive action being the other part of your equation. If you're just like, hey bro, go off real quick about what massive action's been like the last 12 months in your life. What did you apply? What's massive action looked like for Blake Bender?
It's tough to say because, I mean, before like this job, there wasn't much action going on. It was just like waiting for something, and thank God that this job came. But I was just more or less just kind of waiting for something to happen, which you should never do. You should always act, and it'll come. But I think like leading, you know, during and leading up to the job, it was just doing what I knew I had to do. You know, emulating people that I look up to that have done what like I want to do, and it's just acting. I mean, it's more simply, it's literally just doing what you have to do. It's just doing the small things, and like each decision you make, like day by day, is gonna either propel you or like deter you. So you have to just be conscious about all these little things. You know, say no to like the stuff like, you know, all your average like buddies are doing. You know, they're in a completely different mindset than you. So you just kind of have to go by yourself and do these things. It's going to be like a lonely path. That's what I found. But you just have to understand that's for the better. So it's just doing the little things. I mean, you typically know what you have to do. And if you don't, just do something.
Hey, love that. It's lonely until it isn't.
Right.
It's lonely until it isn't, because law of attraction takes place. Then you find people to gravitate towards that are on that similar vibration. So I feel you. It's lonely until it isn't, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm not alone, right?
I mean, like I came in here with nobody, and now I got everybody. Like I'm friends with everybody now. It's awesome.
It's awesome, man. I want to touch on something that I think is really important for every once in a while when I think about a thing. I know it's important when I think like automatically I need to tell my son this. Like, okay, he has to be aware of this. Like Maximus needs to know. So when you said like, you know, you're not going to be hanging out with your average buddies all the time. Or even it's interesting what happens, like at the distance that naturally creates itself, even if you, like nothing against them, it's just like the distance happens. Because average in 2024 for the average guy is not going to work.
Yeah.
It is not going to work. This is not like go to get a GM job and that's going to put you into like the lower upper class, like everything's going to be fine. You're going to have this is an environment where I guess what I'll tell my son is you have got to become exceptional. Like is the only you must become exceptional. Right. Everything else, it's not good anymore. You understand? You're competing. But okay, listen, it used to be this way where you're in a city and there are certain players in that city, right? There's a bunch of people like that are there. So there's the few people, you know, that are like they're balling out in that city, and you're competing with them. You're competing with the people a little bit below than the average, but it's that city. And so like you do decent, you know, you get a little name for yourself, you'd be all right. Like you can get some, you know, you do okay with girls and all that kind of stuff. Now you're not competing with the city anymore. Now something called Instagram exists.
Right.
Okay.
Social media, man.
Social media exists. You're competing with every single city in every single country on the planet. And that never happened over the course of human history. And you are living now. So average doesn't work because there are options all over the place that are way better than average that will pay for them to come out and you're you change your game or you're going to get lapped. Yeah, man. All right. Yeah. And like, so people that think that average is going to work, I have nothing against them. I'm married with a family. Like I want good things for people. I'm not even competing in the same ways that like a lot of guys are still coming up and competing. And, like you must become exceptional. Yeah. I can't imagine what it'd be like. And there's levels to it. And there's some people that you always are going to keep looking up to and stuff that are so far ahead of you. But average sucks.
It sucks. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are fine with it.
Well, they're maybe not fine. They smoke a lot of weed. But they smoke a lot of weed. Yeah. Who's fine with it that doesn't smoke a lot of weed? You're right. And I don't even demonize weed. Enjoy your weed time place. Right. But if you're smoking a lot of weed because people are trying to deal with your life, hey man.
Well, typically, I mean, if you have like a vice like that, you're obviously, doing it for a reason. Yep. So, but
not demonizing weed.
No, I hear you, man.
But I'm not smoking that when I'm supposed to be doing something. How about that?
Right.
Ever.
Right. Yeah. There's more important things.
Yep.
To focus on. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the thing. Like Thomas, hey, did you shoot for average? You're shooting for a thing that's going to get you wrecked.
Right. 100%.
So, but ain't much hard now.
Right. Yeah. That's super true.
That's
crazy. Dude. Because people do that, and it's kind of unfortunate to see. But like I said, it feels like most people don't care if they're average.
I mean, they're probably not going to express it to a peer,
right?
But they know that they care. And I'm not talking about the unchangeable factors. I'm talking about things in life that like you have the ability to influence and impact and grow in these areas. And if you're not doing it, then you're going to have to confront that at some point. They're like, damn, I should start doing these things, man. Life will get better, So that's why we're so big. Like our culture, man, I always tell people we're not entitled like to being the best, or people like you, you're not entitled to being to doing what it is you've done. What you did was you put in work. Like you moved things in order to make happen what you made happen. And so it's like rent is due every day over the course of like your preparation, then you're in action, then it's going to be like May, then it's going to be June, July is going to hit, you'll start to see the boats going out to the lake, right? And you can either be like, oh man, or you can be like, yo, yeah, I'm knocking these doors while they're on the boat. They're going to work for me in 10 years.
Right.
You can also get hyped up like that. Those thoughts where you're going out there like, deuces, man.
Right.
Come see me when you need a job in 10 years. Yep.
Right.
So that's because I'm going to do this, and the story's going to keep going this way, and the story's going to keep, whatever you got to do to,
right.
I remember July.
And that's the thing. Yeah.
Then August comes, Mr. August. So, so talk to me about that, man. That was one of the biggest things that stood out to me about your rookie year was just that some people slowed down a little bit in August. Not everybody. Some of the beasts, they keep it going. But some people slow down, and not only did you just keep it going, but you got better and better. So
Yeah.
like, talk to me. What
Yeah.
happened? What was that?
Well, I mean, so like first off, I had a goal all summer, and I knew so going into August, I was pretty far from that goal, and I knew that I had to have the best month of the summer if I really wanted to be what I was saying I was going to be for the past 6 months leading up to that or whatever. And it's just nothing changed because with some people, they'll get to the end and they'll start to coast a little bit. For me, nothing changed. Actually, I worked harder, I think, in August. I put in the work. I remember when I had like a 40K week, I was out there till like 8:30. I finally got the one deal I needed, like 8:30 to get 40K. And I think you called me or I called you on FaceTime. I was like, man, that felt so good. Because it's just
Good
like
talk.
to like accomplish like something that you really want, it just feels so good. And that's what pushes me to do it. And I knew I wanted to be a 350K rep. And going into August, I was at, I don't know, like 220 maybe, something like that.
Yeah,
215, 220, 230. I was like, man, I'm going to have the best month I've had. So just don't change anything, even work harder, if anything, but just go out and do it. That's it. That's all you can do. So not much changed, but just that vision stayed the same.
What did you do in August?
I think 115, maybe 120.
Well, something light.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, it's crazy.
well done.
I know. It's awesome. Thank
Let's
you.
go. I know it's just the beginning. Well
Yeah.
done. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. So, a couple other. I'm trying to get into a couple different situations that you faced and that you handled in a way that's allowed you to keep going forward. So, what was a time where there was just some really negative energy that you interacted with? Happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that often, but there was some. How do you go into a situation where somebody's bringing a lot of negativity and then not allows that to phase you? What's that
Yeah.
situation like for you?
I mean, specifically, so, I mean, there's always going to be people, either you're living with or in your office that don't truly align with the culture. And I feel like there's a couple people, obviously I'm not going to name any names, but it's just
They're still growing.
Yeah. And it's just to kind of distance yourself away from where you don't want to be, bring yourself closer to people that, you want to be like. And it was just, all just mental fortitude. It's just, I know what I am. I'm a positive person, I'm a neutral person. I don't let that stuff affect me anymore. So I just know my identity, and that's it. It's, people are going to be who they are. That's fine. Don't let that affect you. That's what it comes down to. So, and sometimes, like even on the doors, for example, if someone gives you, bad interaction, hey, I'm on their property. Who cares? They're having a bad day, maybe. Cool. Maybe I'll try to bring some positivity to them. And it's just be yourself. That's it. That's what I would do. If I get screamed at, hey, super sorry, man. I hope you have a better day or whatever.
Yeah.
That's just all it is. If you can bring positivity to people, that'll eventually, or it will come back to you. That's what I think.
And the way that you just handled that too, you let them win the battle so you could win the war, right?
There you go.
It's a really short-sighted way of viewing things where if you hear somebody that's like, it's so weird when I hear guys be like, this guy came to the door and said this, and I told him this. Like,
I know. Like,
I was like,
cares,
dude,
man?
what are you doing? You just took a huge L.
Right.
Like you just got kicked out of your neighborhood.
Right.
He's gonna put it on the Facebook page. He's gonna call the police. Just wasted X amount of time because he's having a bad day, and then you just brought that and made that a part of your day. Like, what are you doing? And you're bragging. You're talking. That's not smart. That's literally dumb.
It is.
If you let him win the battle,
Yeah.
okay, they need that win in the battle more than you do, I promise, because you got no idea what happened behind the door to make them be a dick to you in that moment, right?
Yeah. And
Just, you let them have it, and then they're gonna see your
and
truck
like
all up over that neighborhood.
And that's
you're taking over.
In that specific like scenario, it doesn't make sense to me how you can think it's okay. You're walking on their property for one. They didn't ask you to be here.
Sure.
So that's why I'm super like okay with when I get a bad interaction. It's like it's fine. I mean, like, yeah, I get it. No big deal.
Yeah. They don't happen all the time anyway.
No, they
but
don't.
every once in a while, God knows what that dude was just coming from. Like, hey, your wife just passed away.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
No
yeah,
idea.
maybe he's just having a bad moment,
Exactly.
And then you don't need to win that.
And like it's just like it just you can't let it affect you. You know, it's that's gonna really hold you back.
Yeah.
If you let that stuff affect you.
Okay. When I bring up the term being pleasantly persistent,
Yeah.
what does that mean to you, Blake?
Yeah, I love that. That's exactly how I describe how I sell, because I won't leave until I've ran out of ammo, or they tell me to hit the road. Like, I'm good. Like, seriously, I don't want this. And that just comes down to being a human to them. You're not a salesman. You're not hard closing every single time. It's like, hey man, like, promise you give me a try. You're gonna love it. You won't regret it. Like I would always sincere close people. It just feels like a better connection. And I got a lot of good results with it. And it's just being pleasantly persistent for me is just going through the sales cycle, like I mentioned, with every single person. And you run out of ammo, okay, hey, they're not a buyer, next door. And if you do that for every person, you're going to get sales. But if you leave early, you'll never know if they were a sale or not. So it's just, doing your job. That's it. Yeah.
How did you, on the days where your results were trash the first half of the day?
Yeah.
All right, let's say, I know this didn't happen to you all the time, but let's say you're bagling halfway through the day. All right.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens sometimes,
It happens, yeah.
Just to some people less than others,
Right.
But let's say that you're going, so you're halfway through the day, bagling.
Yeah.
And how do you frame the second half of the day?
Prime time. It's prime time. It's cool. Whatever. I mean, people were gone, at work, sleeping. Cool. It's prime time. Time to shift that gear. It's time to go hard. I mean, you're gonna, like, if you're working the hours, I think it was Cameron that said it. There's 5 sales in every neighborhood. Just find them. If you're working the hours, you'll find them.
There are 5 in every neighborhood. Try to tell him differently.
Yeah. No, I believe it.
There's
too.
only 5 houses in here. Well, then there's 5 sales.
I truly
5.
believe that, because it's just literally do your job. If you work the hours that we set the standard at, you're gonna find the sales. And if you go a day with 0, cool. It's cool. Whatever. I've had a few bagels that hurt, but you learn from it, and you're like, hey, I did what I could. It's whatever. Just come back tomorrow. That's it.
Next morning you wake up.
Yeah.
After you had a bagel the day before.
Yeah.
What's up?
Forgot about it already. Just do the same thing.
Dude, isn't it that a crazy trait that you also just showed right there? Isn't that a crazy trait that when you talk to winners, and when I say winners, hey man, winners take L's. When you talk to people that are winners, they don't remember their L's
or
they
their
don't
wins either. That's one thing. Yeah, like you have a great day, cool. It's another day, whatever. But it's just keep momentum high, I guess. So, but like if I had when I had my PR day, the day before was a 2-piece or whatever, maybe 2, I think. And then I had my PR, and then I don't know what the next day was, but it's just like day by day. You just got to stay present.
I love that.
Yeah.
When I said they don't remember their L's, they might really remember their L's deeply as far as like a motivation to do their win, like to win, but they don't bring them into the current moment ever.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So like that's it. That's I guess to clarify that, because actually I was thinking about some of the greatest wins that ever have come from like the feeling of a loss.
Yeah.
Like at some point, you're like, I'm not doing that again.
Right. Exactly. And you just use it to motivate as motivation on both ends. Great day, motivation to go have another good day. Bad day, well, motivation to have a good day. It's just it's just perspective.
If you were to have like a poster of somebody, like whether it's an athlete, a singer, like I don't know, whatever it is that you're like, this dude's a beast.
Yeah.
What? Who would you throw up in the room?
Probably this dude, Jared Maverick.
Honestly,
I don't really know. I mean, I don't like it's tough to say. I don't really have any famous people that I really look up to.
Who did you look up to? Personal people. Personal.
Yeah.
Outside, even just pre-Eco Shields, anybody that was inspiring to you as far as somebody you wanted to you learn some good things from.
I mean, my grandparents. That's people I look up to, because they are the most selfless people. Because I guarantee they'll be watching this. Their entire life is dedicated to making their family happier, a better life. My grandma, she's the one that got me into not only personal development, but spiritual development. She is just, both of them are just like the most grounded, present people of all time. And I just, that's one reason I do what I do for my family. They're great. Like, they just motivate me to be a better person. And I think that's all you can ask for.
Love that.
Just better person in general,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one example.
Okay. Let's go through here instead of going down the path of things that are like literally the worst thing in the world for you.
Yeah.
Favorite pre-workout.
Ooh,
What's your
energy
favorite
drinks.
pre-workout?
I do C4
C4
or Gorilla Mind. Yeah.
Gorilla Mind's my absolute favorite.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I should probably
like
get a
that
code.
one.
I should probably get a code.
Yeah, you should. You should get affiliated.
At least for myself,
Bro,
so I can buy a bunch of
those are great. Yeah, because you can't really find them many places, or at least around me you can't.
GNC carries them.
Do they?
Yeah,
all of them do?
I literally stop at GNC to go in the fridge and grab.
Yeah,
Gorilla
so I just go to
Minds.
gas stations and like.
Okay,
I
they don't
found a
have them
liquor
usually.
store by my place that sells them.
Okay.
Yeah. And my gym sells them.
It's
too.
good. It's got a really nice nootropic effect to it
Yeah.
as well as the
does.
caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the C4 I like because it has like the beta in it. I like to get a little itchy sometimes, but the Gorilla Mind, like you said, it's better mentally. I feel more dialed with it. So those two are my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the over the course of summer? This one I gotta ask. Okay, first of all, on average, how many milligrams of caffeine?
Ooh, I knew you were gonna say that.
We gotta go here. We do not endorse, by the way, the use of caffeine or anything that is said after this.
Yeah,
all right,
no.
disclaimer.
Check with your doctor.
Yeah,
man,
check with your
'cause
doctor.
Not a healthy amount.
So what do you think the amount was, and then how did you consume it?
So if I do the math, okay, so I'd wake up. So like I said, I would do first half of the summer. I would go to the gym. Second half, I needed more sleep, just point blank period. So first half, I would wake up, half scoop of pre-workout. So I would say that's probably 150 right off the bat. Go to the gym, come back, do everything. On the way to the office, or during the office, I would drink a Celsius or a Zoa. So either 200 or 160. So that's 300, 350 grams. And then on the way, I would buy another one, save that for noon, maybe 2 o'clock, drink that. So we're sitting at 500 or so.
Okay.
And then on the occasion, I'd buy another one.
Okay.
Yeah, from like a gas. If I'm by a gas station, I'll never go crazy out of my way to go to a gas station or anything. But if there's one close by, I'll get another one.
Did you get those? So maybe most days 500-ish milligrams.
500
and then
to
if you need a little
700.
extra. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where you're getting a little bit in the danger zone there with the 700. But
Oh, yeah.
I've been there. All right.
Oh, yeah.
But you're getting a little in the danger
Yeah.
zone. I try to tell guys everybody's body's different, so maybe some people should have none.
Yeah.
If they're really healthy and all that. I don't tell them anything. I tell them that I try to stay below 600.
Yeah.
So if I can't stay below 600, I will. I've
Yeah.
had times where if
I stay below
buy it like
200
that,
now, like off season.
Okay.
And like leading up to summer, I only have an energy drink. That's it.
Okay.
And nothing above 200. Because too much caffeine kind of, gives me a little anxiety and stuff. But when I'm on the doors, I didn't feel it. It was so different. It was so weird. I could do that and I would feel, fine.
Okay.
And then during Shield, that was a different story. I would take the what's the pre-workout gains or whatever.
Oh, Mental Mojo.
Mental Mojo, yeah. Oh man, dude, that stuff would get me so dialed. I need to. Is it on Amazon?
I think it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some.
I haven't bought it in like a year.
Yeah.
There was a time in my life where it was like the most dialed time in my life. I should probably there were a couple of years where every single day I took two Mental Mojos. That's what I did.
Yeah.
It's
just
together.
it's just
you
so
do one in one bottle and then one in the other.
Like the
It's
energy's
too
cool
strong.
and all, but like it just like it gets your mind just so focused and dialed.
Yeah.
Like I can remember thoroughly like my best days were with the Mental Mojo. I don't know if that's just like coincidence or not, but it is
Dude,
true.
so Amadeus, he's one of the OGs in the business, and like he's done some crazy things on the doors. Now he's on the operation side a lot, but still strange teams.
Yeah.
But I remember when I saw him go from his first year to his second year, he made a huge jump. Partnered his second year, and I went to him afterwards. I was like, "Dang, bro, like, dude, what have you been doing? Like, how did you do all that so quick? Like, he was the first person to do the 1-2 turnaround that I'd seen." And he's like, "Bro, to be honest, Days, I'm sorry, this is years ago." He's like, "To be honest, man, I just stay cracked up off Mental Mojo. That's what he said.
Hey, it works, man. I know it does. Yeah, check with your doctor, but man, it works. I don't know how much caffeine's in it either.
It's not that much. It's like 100 and some, I think.
Is it really?
100 and some.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Berto, do you mind looking up the caffeine?
I was thinking
in
I was thinking around 300 or something.
No. It's the nootropic aspect that's really strong.
That's what really gets you. Yeah.
Dude, so one of the craziest things though, this I loved this when I became part of this organization, man. So the person that headed up what I joined and that I met, he was driven to live that he literally, because he doesn't do Adderall, doesn't like do that kind of stuff that's out there. He's got a faith and like he doesn't do that. So he literally, so that he could stay up more hours while he was double majoring in business and in law school and doing work additionally during that period of time, he was so fired up about life and making the most of it that he created an energy drink that would maximize like for himself.
Yeah.
For himself, so that he could stay up all night and study. Give him more. I love that crap. Like,
so cool.
I was like, hell yeah, bro.
So cool.
Come on, man. Like,
So
you make
cool.
up your own energy drinks so that you can stay
dude,
awake all night,
so
dude.
Sweet. It's insane. That's the point I want to get to.
Right. Hey, there we
So cool.
Let's go, man. All right. Hey, so a couple more situations on the doors. I just want to hear your thoughts on closing.
Yeah.
When somebody says, "Hey, man, what could you tell me about closing that's going to help me elevate my game?"
Yeah.
What are the go-tos?
Yeah. So I think first off, what you have to do is know them. So read the manual. I can't stress that enough. Is everything you need is right there. Mm-hmm. So closing, it's chapter 11. Read it, go over it, study it, be obsessed with it, know it, and then you can start to apply it. So like for me, my favorite is just right off the intro, option close. Just gauge their interest. I think an option close and stuff, that's a good way to gauge that interest, temperature gauge. Yeah, you want the inside or outside done? Or do you want the inside done or just the outside? And then from there, they're going to say yes, no, or ask a question. And then you continue down the pipeline. So they, yes, cool, it's a good last name. No, yes, address, close. And if it's a question, answer, close. And that's literally just the Ferris wheel of sales. You just keep going around and around and until you're out of ammo, really. So I think closing is just a very strategic way to get the sale. You're not going to get the sale without a close, without being a master at closing, because very rarely will they just say, hey, how do I sign up? Or, yeah, how much? Let's do this. I want this. You pest control? Yeah, let's do it. Mm-hmm. It'll happen for sure. But it's
a couple times a year. Yeah.
But it's rare. Like I said, you have to be a master at closing and understand the pipeline. I think it was Jordan Belfort, the straight line. Mm-hmm. It's what it is, It's not going to be a straight line the whole time. Objection, you bring it back. Question, answer, bring them back to the straight line, get them to the sale. And, that's it. Sales is I feel like it's a simple process. It's just you have to be a master at it, what you do, and understand it, and always be conscious of, where you're at. I would always think in my head, so it's just, run through your script, whatever, objection, answer, build value, move the first time, and then continue to build that, go through that cycle, move, build value, close. Move, build value, close. Obviously, price drop where you need to, but it's just a cycle. It's just a sales cycle. That's it.
Love that. Yeah. Another one that is really helpful for people to learn from a pro is just the importance of benefits.
Yes.
So, what did you learn about features and benefits through the sales year that you didn't know before you got into direct sales?
Yeah, and I was just going over this with all my rookies on a Zoom call. The importance of features, but benefits mainly, because it's easy to, list off a ton of features. That's one thing I would do at the beginning. Yeah, I'll take care of all the webs for you, wasps too, and then I'll even treat the yard. Okay, but you're not making that emotional connection. That's why people buy from you, is the emotional attachment to, hey, this is how it's going to help you. I'm going to take care of the wasps so you and the kids don't get stung, right? I'm going to knock all the webs down so you don't have to come out with the broom on a Saturday just for them to come right back.
Mm.
Doesn't that make a lot more sense to a homeowner? Yeah, I see the dogs. Coolest part, I treat the yard so the ticks and fleas aren't hopping on the dogs and, tracking in those unwanted visitors, whatever. All these different ways you can throw in benefits to build value for the customer. That is why they buy. And when I made that change, I substantially was making more sales. Benefits are huge. And if all fails, you can just hit them with a benefit or harp on the benefits more. That's the reason why people buy, is that emotional connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man. They don't buy, just say, we'll take care of the mice. We'll
That's
make
what I
sure
mean.
that all the bacteria that the mice are
Right.
tracking in, like, gets stopped.
Right.
All right, we'll keep that out of the house. So you guys don't have to worry about the kids coming out and getting that on their feet or on their fingers when they're going for the silverware.
Right.
That's, yeah. Hey, I love that, man. That is so big for me.
Huge.
I didn't really understand initially in sales, like, when you're just saying features, you're just spitting facts.
Right.
And their eyes can gloss over and be like, yeah, okay, yeah, man, cool. That's what you do.
Nice.
No, like, this is gonna do for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
appreciate you running through that. And then the other thing I'd like to tap on. Okay, so what was something significant that you noticed in your tone or your body language that you were doing without knowing that you later on like shifted to something completely different?
Yeah. It's just, really, I knew the right body language. I was just more focused on like the script rather than being conscious of, all these little factors that make actually a bigger difference than just what you're saying. It's all about how you say it, not exactly what you're saying. And if you can portray that confidence, because that's what body language and tonality really gives off. It's authority, and then, hey, this guy's super calm, cool, collected. He's confident. He knows what he's doing. He's a professional. People listen to you more based on those aspects. You get more people throughout the sales cycle. You're going to get more sales in turn. So, like, for example, I'd start too close to the door sometimes. Little thing. Makes a big difference. I would, just for fun, I would even step, like, back super far. Like, I'm in the driveway at this point. Yeah, and they open the door, and it's just for fun, just have fun out there is a big thing for me. But it's being conscious of this stuff. Because once the script started to get like muscle memory, and then you can really focus on those small little details.
Yeah.
Which is body language, tonality, all those little things.
The self-analytics part
Yeah.
of this job is just really productive. Not only is it such an important part of you improving at the craft, but you start noticing, right? Have you noticed in conversations with people outside of the doors just how different, how you're able to have like quality conversations and really like get them to express what they're trying to express and help them express it better?
A lot, man. Right. It's crazy.
Right?
Like I said, I didn't like talking to people before this job. And it's something I always wanted to be good at. So, job helped in that aspect. Yeah.
Let's go. Have you you know what? I'll stay away from that.
Oh, come on.
I mean, it's help with girls.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it all ties in. Like you said, tonality and body language isn't just. I mean, when you're picking up a girl, you're still selling yourself. You have good tonality, body language. Yeah, he's confident. I like this guy. Yeah,
bro. Hey,
like it's just, yeah. That's what it comes down to. But like, if you're not confident, no one's gonna, listen to you.
The first time I got a taste of like the level of confidence that you have, Blake.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
We're in Mexico on the top 15 rookie trip.
Sure.
And we're some ways into that night.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You're there. Other top 15. Colin's there.
Right.
Berto's in the house, man. And had a great night. But one of the cool things, man, that they will stick with me. Yeah. I remember it, and I don't know if before the doors you would have been. I don't know if you would have been able to express. It was the coolest thing. We were at this place, and dude, the whole room, the whole room for like 45 minutes. And when I say the whole room, I mean the whole room, man. Like this place, this place, this place, this place. The whole room was just vibing on your level.
Yeah.
Like on your level. You're going around to each place. And
Right.
that was one of the most cool things. I'm just sitting there. I'm like,
I know,
it makes sense to me. Like it all made sense.
Yeah.
Like what, because you're that level of confidence, the level of, you obviously like people, like, that's a huge deal. If you can have good intentions. I've heard one of the best salesmen I've worked with directly, or maybe he's a goat. He would say on the doorstep, this is Alan. He would say on the doorstep when he's waiting for the customer to answer the door, he'd be like, he has a faith. And so he'd say, help me love this person. Like, help me love this person.
Yeah.
If you have that kind of vibe,
Right.
that you're going into interactions, sales, the transfer of energy. So if you're there to add value to their life and you go into it with that perspective, that's so powerful. And basically, like everybody in the room was just vibe. Like, hey, this guy, like, I'll jump on this vibe. And bro, it was awesome. It was a thing.
So cool, it was
a thing, dude. And when we
and
left, I feel bad for the room. I have no idea what happened. We left.
They might have just closed. Honestly,
they might have
just closed.
The manager might have closed.
He said, "All right, well, we're wrapping up here." No, dude, that was so good, man. I'll never forget that. Like, that was just the trip in general, man. That night that was good.
That was a blast, man.
That was such a good
Absolute
one, man.
blast. But hey, Blake, thanks so much for coming in.
Dude, it's my pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I was looking forward to this, man.
Dude, me too.
Just in a couple of, before you leave, tell me what's the vision for 2025?
Yeah.
And what's gonna happen between this one and hopefully the next conversation we have.
Yeah. So I will be on here again, guarantee it. But for next summer, I think just outside of money and stuff, it's just continue to grow as a person, as a man of God in my faith. Be able to spread the blessings I've had, that I've gotten over this past year. Spread that with people, whether it's trying to bring them with me and give them an opportunity here, or just spread some sort of positive energy their way, whether it's knowledge or whatever it may be, is just to grow as a man. But of course, money's huge too. I'm gonna be a 550K rep, like I said. I'm gonna partner next year, and I'm just gonna put my guys first, because the managers that I've seen that I look up to, that's what they do. They put their guys first. But that's really it. It's just lead people, continue to stay out of my comfort zone, grow, because that's how you do it. So I just think it's just continue to become a better person, and I think everything will fall in place.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
I believe you. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Thanks, man.
Until next time.
Yes, sir, man.
See you, everybody.
See you guys. Thanks.